What's correct, it's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you didn't know, so we're going over receivers, fantasy football, what round you should get them, why. Anyway, if you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It really does make me very happy, and you want to keep me happy, right? It's weird. How would I do? Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's go in. Number one, I got DeAndre Hopkins, Houston. First round grade. I think, honestly, it goes without being said, he's one of the most consistent receivers. He did it without a quarterback for most of his career, so why not? Here's my little asterisk with receivers. If all the elite running backs are off the board, like, this should be late first. You're like, okay, I'll settle for a receiver, and then I'll try to come back to running back in the early second. Honestly, I would pick a receiver, maybe 10th pick. I do all this based off a 12 team draft, so there's that. Yeah, so I think 10th pick, about right, because honestly, there's only a handful of elite running backs, and you want to get your hands on those guys. So go ahead, snag him in the first round if you have to, if those guys are gone. Next, I got Davante Adams. Again, first round grade. He produced really well last year. He was very consistent. He's Aaron Rodgers as of now, really his only receiver, consistent receiver, I should say. Next, Julio Jones. Again, first round grade. Julio, man, he's gonna see a lot of targets, and with these guys, with these first round grades, I gave them great first round grades because they're going to see a ton of targets. They're going to get a ton of receptions. You want that. You want your guys to get those opportunities. And Julio Jones, he doesn't get in the end zone much, which is weird. So big, but he puts up yards. He had like 1,400 receiving yards last year. Next, I got Odell Beckham. I mean, he begs for the ball. And now Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. I'm excited to see this offense. I got him here at number 4 just because he's produced so much in the past. I can't really remember a time Odell's really never, like, hasn't produced. Next, I got Juju Schuster-Smith. He's the number 1. He's the clear-cut number 1 in Pittsburgh. So, there's that. He's essentially replacing Antonio Brown. I mean, he was seeing more targets than Antonio Brown near the second half of the season. First round grade. Michael Thomas, again, he was a stud in the first half of the year. Near the later part, he kind of cooled off, not because it was just because New Orleans would end up winning games and they would start relying on the run game. And like, you saw that would dip with Drew Brees' production. It wasn't because he was playing bad. It's just because he wasn't getting he didn't need to. He didn't need to play. Like, he wasn't having the opportunities to start passing the ball. They were winning, so just go ahead and kill clock. Then I got Antonio Brown at number 7 with my final first round grade. He's gonna see a ton. Even if I don't know how Derek Carr is gonna be. I'm very unsure of Derek Carr. Derek Carr kind of looks, right now, he's kind of reminds me of Sam Bradford. I mean, a lot of his stuff is checked down and fourth throws, so I don't know. Now he's got Antonio Brown and then even Tyrell Williams, guys that stretch the field. I think J.J. Nelson. So, yeah. I think you're going to, I mean, I don't think it's going to take away Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's going to see a ton of targets. Next, starting the second round, I got Adam Thielen. Again, you still want, like, you can find these guys in the second round that see a ton of targets, but that don't necessarily produce like these guys I've given first round grades to. Adam Thielen, after like the first 8 games, like, he was probably the best receiver for the first 8 weeks of the season. And then he cooled off mightily, like, mightily. He had a game that was like 2 receptions, 17 yards. So, again, with those first round guys, you want to know that they're going to produce almost every game. So Adam Thielen, I got him here. I wouldn't take him in the first round. Second round, maybe late second. Keenan Allen, another one of those guys. He gets a ton of opportunities, and he always produces. He just doesn't get in the end zone, and there's always that injury bug with him. Because I remember I drafted him 2 years consecutively, and both years hurt, like out for the year. And it's like, I think I got him in like third or fourth round of those drafts. So again, injury concern. And then Mike Evans, I got here at number 10, still with second round grade. Honestly, he could be a first rounder, or I would give him a first round grade if it wasn't Jameis Winston throwing to him. That Buck offense, man. I'll be interested to see how they do under Bruce Arians this year. Now at 11, I got T.Y. Hilton. He kind of got a little hurt last year. He's getting up in the years, but he was kind of banged up. But when he was on the field, he was producing, and I think he'll be producing again this year. Second round grade. And then Amari Cooper, I put a second round grade on him. I just want to know that last year wasn't just a fluke, because he really bombed hard in Oakland. And granted, he wasn't necessarily given a lot of opportunity in Oakland, but like when he was, like, drops were a big thing with him. I'm just interested to see how this year pans out. He's on my don't draft list, just because after you've been burned so much in a relationship, it's hard to trust again. And I'm just at that point where, Mari, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. Give me one more year. Show me that you're doing good, and then maybe. But till then, I got a second round grade. Next, honestly, these guys are kind of interchangeable with each other. I got Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and Cooper Kupp, all of the Rams. I put third round grades on him. Robert Woods, I would say, is the most reliable. He's going to constantly produce. He'll get you 5 to 6 receptions a game. Brandon Cooks is the most explosive. He is a deep ball threat. So I think he gives you that. And then Cooper Kupp is another. He's very reliable, but he also has that explosive potential. But he's kind of lesser on the totem pole than those three because he mainly operates out of the slot. So I got third round grades on him. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. Then I got AJ Green, third round. Dude was beat up last year. He was still balling, but he was beat up last year. And again, he's getting up there in age, so it's just one of those things where it's like, how will his body hold up? Will I have AJ Green for the whole year? I think third round is a great place to take him. He's a good wide receiver too. Or even if you drafted running back consecutively, a good wide receiver one, especially if you're already set at running back. Next, I got Stephon Diggs. Kind of the same thing with Adam Thielen, just to a little lesser degree. He didn't produce as much as Thielen did. He wasn't nearly as dangerous, but he gets a lot of targets. So I also got Edelman as a third rounder because, I mean, it's Tom Brady's favorite weapon. How can you not love that? Now, going into these next picks, I got fourth round grades on them because they should not be your starters. These are competent wide receiver twos and good flex, really good flex if you need them to be. I'm going to start off with Kenny Golladay. I just want to see that Kenny Golladay is the number one for sure, hands down. That also demands a little consistency out of Matthew Stafford, which is kind of hard to come by nowadays. But that's why I got a fourth round grade on him. Tyler Boyd, coming out party last year. He was dangerous in the slot. He was a big pickup for a lot of people last year on the waiver wire. I got a fourth round grade on him. I'm comfortable with him as long as he's coming back real healthy as a number 2 receiver. I love him in my flex. And next, I mean, keep in mind the receiving core or the receivers is such a deep class that you could find these quality picks later in the draft. But I mean, as in with everything, you're drafting based on reliability. You draft early because these guys are reliable. So I got Calvin Ridley as another 4th rounder. The dude had a bonkers start to his season, and then just the production was everywhere. Like, you didn't know what kind of guy you were getting. I know I traded for him. I'm not gonna tell you what I traded for because it was a little bit embarrassing. It was like eight player trade essentially. I traded 4 guys. This guy traded 4 guys. Ultimately, it was very even, but because I needed a receiver bad because I drafted Doug Baldwin last year, and sucks to hear that man's career could be over. Man, he's had such a great one in Seattle, but Calvin Ridley, again, I'm just not confident the production will be there. You could put out wide receiver 1 numbers one week, and then he could give you a fat 0 the next. Next, I got Jarvis Landry. With Odell now in town, I think Landry's targets will go way up because it's, I mean, they could put him wherever on the field. He could play, I know he loves playing in the slot, but now that he doesn't have the focus of wide receiver 1, I think it'll benefit Landry a ton. Then I got Emmanuel Sanders. I think he's still the number 1 there in Denver. I think he'll be a reliable target. I think Flacco's gonna love Sanders. I'm not ready yet to put Cortland Sutherland anywhere near this list, just because I don't know. I want to see more. I'm always afraid of the sophomore slump. What can I say? And then next I got Alshon Jeffrey. Wentz loves Jeffrey, so wide receiver 2 value there. 4th round, good value. Next, now these next picks. This is where I'm willing to roll the dice, where I'm willing to go out on a limb for a player. Because these guys, I should have at least, maybe, if I'm lucky, 2 receivers. If I didn't go tight end early. I should have at least 2 receivers. So now I'm willing to go out on a limb for these other guys. Sterling Shepard, he's the clear-cut number 1. He has to produce, right? Like, there's no other option there in New York. They're off. They won't win games. They won't even be competitive in games unless Sterling Shepard gets the ball. So we'll see. That's why I have him here at 25, 5th round value. Now this is interesting. Honestly, I think these two, 1A, 1B. Sammy Watkins, and I also got the rookie, Mecole Hardman, because I'm just anticipating Tyreek Hill's not coming back to the team. I think he's out of the NFL. I mean, if you haven't heard the recording of all that, don't. It's sad, horrible. He should be banned from the NFL. But I think he's gonna get hit with some sort of indefinite suspension. We won't see Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs, or on the field for the Chiefs. So that's why they went up. They drafted Mecole Hardman in the 2nd round. He is not the player that Tyreek Hill is, but he's got the speed. He can play on special teams. I mean, who else are they going to throw to that's not Travis Kelce? I mean, Patrick Mahomes loves to spread the ball, but someone's got to get those targets from Hill last year. And Sammy Watkins can't stay on the field. I mean, I'm cool taking Watkins on a risk that maybe he'll be healthy the whole year, but Mecole Hardman, I think, is well worth the risk in the 5th round. As long as you got 2 receivers, I say go for it. Because if this man balls out, then you're going to look like a genius. Next, I got Tyler Lockett. He had a really, really good year last year. He's a competent wide receiver too, honestly. And I mean, again, Doug Baldwin's gone, so he's the number 1 there in Seattle. Then you got Chris Godwin. He played really well in a very crowded receiving core last year. So I expect, with Sean Jackson gone, Adam Humphries gone, I expect him to take some big steps this year. And then I got DJ Moore from Carolina. Man, DJ Moore, I think I mean, he's the only receiver they have. They got Chris Hogan, but I mean, so he's gonna. I can't see them throwing to anyone else. I mean, I guess Christian McCaffrey's their leading receiver, right? But DJ Moore, he flashed very, very nicely last year. He's got speed. He will. I could see, he'll get you 7 to 8 touchdowns, I think, this year. So I think at this point, in the 5th round, if I'm grabbing a wide receiver 3, this is your guy. Other 5th rounders I got is Christian Kirk. He is clear cut the number 1. I know Larry Fitzgerald's still there. Larry Fitzgerald's on his way out, though. Let's be honest. That's why they drafted receivers so much this year. They drafted Hakeem Butler. They drafted Andy Isabella, who you get around that 10th to like 13th round area where you're just kind of picking up some depth on the bench. You stash Andy Isabella. He could go off in that offense. You wait, you see. I love him. But Christian Kirk, he's the number 1. At 5th round, you could get a steal if this offense ends up being super explosive. So next, at a 6th round value, I got Corey Davis, just because Corey Davis looked like a legit number 1 some games, but that, like, I don't trust Marcus Mariota as a starting quarterback, man. Like, he's always hurt, and he's not very consistent. So unfortunately, Corey Davis he's at the whims of if Mariota's having an on or off day. There we go. Then I got Dante Pettis out of San Fran. I'm not sure if he's the number 1, but he had a lot of big play threat toward the middle and late last year for San Fran. And with Garoppolo back, I'd be interested to see how him and Debo do. And then you still got Marcus Goodwin, so they got a very good receiving core there. Next, I got James Washington, 7th round value. They have to throw to someone else, right? On another note, 10 to 13th round, Deontay Johnson out of Pittsburgh. It might be a guy worth stashing. So keep an eye on that. But James Washington, he's their number 2. I mean, the target's got to go somewhere, right? The targets have to go somewhere. They have to throw to someone. It can't just be Juju every play. So that's why I got him on here. Then I put Larry Fitzgerald at 7, or for a 7th round value. Just think about it. Kyler Murray, he's going to need a reliable target, a trusted target. Fitzgerald, man, a veteran, a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, I should say. I think he'll help Kyler Murray immensely this year. Then I got Allen Robinson at a 7th round grade because, and people are really high on Allen Robinson. I saw him going 4th, 5th round. I don't trust that. He didn't see the field sometimes last year, and I think this is his last year in Chicago with Anthony Miller. They just drafted Riley Ridley, so it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens with Allen Robinson, but also Trubisky kind of rolling the dice with he's gonna have an on or off game. So I don't know. I don't really trust the passing offense there in Chicago just yet. I got Will Fuller just because I mean Deshaun Jackson is top notch. Deshaun Watson's top notch, and you know Will Fuller, if healthy, he's a very good wide receiver too. Adam Humphries, they're paying him a lot of money, and I really like his slot capabilities. So 8th round, I think that's worth a gamble. Golden Tate, I mean, they gotta throw to someone in New York, right? With Sterling Shepard, I'll be interested to see how Golden Tate, like what his production is. He's a really good bubble screen or screen receiver, so he likes some short intermediate throws, so I think we could see a lot of screens from Golden Tate, so I think he will guarantee us about 3 to 5 receptions a game. 8th round, it's worth it. Then a Robbie Anderson, he's the number 1. He's the number 1 for the Jets. So, I mean, Sam Darnold, you gotta throw to someone. But at the 8th round, he is a again, a home run threat. He could get you a touchdown on any play. It's just, will he get a reception? There were games where he was held to 1 reception, 2 receptions. And so you're kind of just gambling on matchup at that point. I would throw also Cortland Sutherland here, just because I'd like to see if he develops any rapport with Flacco. Also, Marvin Jones, he had an up and down year last year in Detroit, but I do think he is Stafford's most trusted receiver right now on the roster, so we'll see about that. But anyway, there's a lot of sleepers you could get here, so stay tuned for that. I'll have a sleepers video out someday. But until next time, y'all be easy, my friends, okay?